Wolverines are home again, taking on an in-state rival, Southern Utah University, in the house. The Thunderbirds just 1-5, UVU 2-5. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another exciting season of UVU basketball right here on UVU TV. I'm Jim McCullough along with Matt Peterson. All right, Matt, you got two teams not off to great starts. Both of them need a win badly tonight. Something's got to give. What are you expecting?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough, hard-fought battle for the full 40 minutes because the Thunderbirds come in 1-5, the Wolverines 2-5. Both teams are really struggling to start the season, and I think they need something to take them over the edge to propel them into the latter half of their season because it's been a rough few games for both teams to start the year.
Yeah, Southern Utah, though, coming off a very impressive 20-point victory just 48 hours ago at home. Meanwhile, for Utah Valley, boy, they're on a 3-game losing streak, and that sort of hurts. That's why they're 2-5 overall, just 2-2 at home. Tonight, though, UVU starting to get back some of those injured players that have missed the last few games. That could be a huge factor.
It could be, and I think it will be because it adds depth, and the players that are coming back are key players and do a lot of different things offensively and defensively for UVU. So I think that the coaching staff will be glad to have them back, and the entire team will be glad to have them back, and more than anything, they're excited to be back.
Oh, I'm sure they are. We'll talk more about them as the game goes on. You mentioned key players, though. Key players for UVU tonight, Matt.
Yeah, so when we look at the key players.
Well, let's do keys to the game first.
Absolutely.
How about that?
Coach Pope has been hounding this season about the rebounding. We hear that in nearly every game after we talk to him. So I think that's going to be a huge key. Both offensive rebounding, they cannot give up offensive rebounds and defensive boards as well. They've got to take care of the basketball. They can't give Southern Utah opportunities to go out in transition after turnovers, and they've got to stay out of foul trouble. They've got so many guys hurt, a limited roster. They've got to keep their guys on the floor.
Yeah, limited roster for sure. Just 11 healthy guys maybe tonight, maybe just 9. All right, now let's talk about some of the key players, key matchups for UVU. Obviously, Marcel and Connor, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Marcel, the senior guard, he dishes the ball, he shoots the ball, he drives the ball. He's the motor that makes the team run in my mind, so he's got to play really well tonight. Connor Fry has been fantastic for the first part of the season here. He leads the Wolverines with 17 points per game. He's going to have to keep that up, and these are going to be two players we're going to watch the entire game.
Meanwhile, for Southern Utah, they got a couple of good horses that are starting to show off a little bit. Both these guys are from Las Vegas, amazingly enough.
Yeah, both guards have some experience. Trey Kennedy comes in averaging 12 points a game. Trayvon Langston comes in averaging 14 points a game. So with a lot of the scoring coming from the perimeter, it's going to be up to the Wolverine perimeter defenders to play for a full 40 minutes against these guys because these guys can score.
This one should be fun. A non-conference matchup, Southern Utah out of the Big Sky, UVU obviously out of the WAC. So they get to play each other just once a season. That's it for this season. It'll be tonight. That's coming up next. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, your starting lineups and your opening tip. That's all coming up next right here on UVU TV.
When I was hired as the new coach at UVU, I knew that if we were going to win games, we'd have to have fans in the seats. I'm not much of a marketing guy, but I have some friends that know a thing or two about it.
All right, Coach. This is all about face-to-face interaction. That was actually pretty good. If this whole basketball thing doesn't work out, you should give me a call.
If you're looking to earn money this summer, stop by the Vantage marketing booth on the concourse during our games or visit choosevantage.com.
Welcome to the UCCU Center. Jim McCullough along with Matt Peterson. Utah Valley starters tonight. Marcel Davis, Jaden Jackson, Connor Fry, Alex Carr, and Andrew Bastian. We'll talk more about them in a minute. Southern Utah, Trayvon Langston, Trey Kennedy, Race Parsons, Juwan Major, and Casey Oliverson. Southern Utah comes in here averaging 78 points a game, but they're giving up, Matt, 85 points a game. That would be even bigger were it not for them scoring 105 points Thursday nights against Laverne.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be an opportunity here for the Wolverines, especially on their home court. We talked a little bit in the pregame how important this game is for both teams, and it's looking like Southern Utah is a little bit struggling on the defensive end, so there's the opening for UVU.
Meanwhile, UVU averaging 72 points a game. They're giving up 74 points a game. And they've had some, it sounds like really close games. No, not really. They lost by 31. They've lost by 13. They've lost by 26. They've lost by 12. They did lose by 4, and that was Tuesday night here on this floor against Montana State. The games they've won, though, by 29 and 46. So UVU really, other than this game past Tuesday, I'm not so sure they've been tested in a real close game.
You know, they haven't, and we saw a lot in the Montana State game, as you just mentioned. I mean, that game was back and forth. It was tight the entire game. The Wolverines competed. They just made some critical mistakes at the very end and weren't able to pull it out. So I do think that that game gave them experience. You know, obviously tough to take away things in a loss, but it did give them some experience. I think
Marcel Davis. At guard, a 6'2" senior from Salt Lake City, Utah. Number 2, Jaden Jackson. At forward, a 6'6" junior from Bountiful, Utah. Number 11, Connor Fry. At guard, a 6'3" senior from Birmingham, Alabama. Number 24, Alex Carr. And at center, a 6'9" junior from Tustin, California. Number 42, Andrew Bastian. The Wolverines are led by head coach Mark Pope. He's assisted by Cody Fieger, Chris Burgess, Eric Daniels, and Director of Basketball Operations, Bobby Hordusky.
Marcel Davis, Jaden Jackson out front, Connor Fry, sort of inside, Andrew Bastian inside, Alex Carr, another guard outside. UVU's height is not there this season, Matt. They've got a lot of guys injured, a lot of guys redshirting that otherwise would be filling that lane. So perimeter shooting tonight?
I think so. I mean, they're going to have scoring from the perimeter. The interior guys have had their moments. Let's be honest, they've had their moments inside. Andrew Bastian, I think, needs to develop a little bit more inside and maybe look for the Wolverines to go inside to him. They don't dump the ball inside to him that often. If Darius Hamilton gets in there, he is the main back to the basket threat that the Wolverines have. So I think that while the perimeter scoring has carried UVU so far, they've got to develop some type of interior presence as well.
About ready to get this one started here at Orem, Utah. We're underway. Thanks for being with us. Non-conference game, UVU, Southern Utah. The time these two will play this year. Might just become an annual tradition for these two to meet.
This is a set we've seen a lot from the Wolverines. Andrew Bastian setting some early screens. Nice to see him duck down into the post.
Bastian takes it in. Southern Utah's first possession on the miss.
Yeah, I love that though. They've got to establish that interior presence. That's a good, strong move from Andrew. Hopefully they continue to look for him inside.
Southern Utah takes it straight at him. Alex Carr with the rebound. Marcel. That won't go. Connor Fry fighting for the rebound. First foul of the game.
You know, that's one of the reasons that Marcel is a key player, because the Wolverines did a terrific job there of converting that defensive board into a transition opportunity. Marcel pushed the action, no one back to protect the rim. He got all the way to the rim. Love that, to see that early from Marcel.
Foul was on Kennedy. Travel is the call this time on UVU.
Just look at the lineup that Southern Utah has as well, Jim. You know, Casey Oliverson is the tallest guy in there, and he's listed at 6'8". I don't think he's anywhere near that size. So, you know, Southern Utah going with a small lineup. It's going to be a lot of the perimeter game. 4 out, 1 in is what we've seen in the first couple sets here.
So what you're saying is two pretty evenly matched teams?
I think so, absolutely. Yeah, nice shot there from Casey Oliverson. But look at both teams, what they've done so far. You know, they've got their big guy setting a screen up top, eventually works his way down into the post, but it has been a perimeter-oriented game in the first minute and a half.
Marcel hammered from behind on his way to the rack, he'll shoot a couple.
And you know what I think that does for the Wolverines, and probably what Southern Utah is going to try and exploit as well, is look at all the space in the paint here. There's no big guy in there. There's no one in there. So Marcel dribbles to his left, gets the defense thinking that he's going to be handing the ball off or some action on the perimeter, and there is no interior player in there for UVU. Leaves that entire paint open for Marcel, and other players are going to be able to drive to the basket as well.
Marcel Davis, 63% free throw shooter on the season. That foul was against Kennedy, his second. Trey Kennedy, the assist leader on the season for these Thunderbirds, already with 2 fouls. And he goes to the bench. We've only played a minute and a half. Tied at 2. Turnover, Southern Utah. Marshall replaced Kennedy in the lineup for Southern Utah. Bastion, charge.
He was inside the paint. Yeah, they're going to get a correction here.
Oh, originally it was called a charge, now it's called a block.
Yeah, again, Andrew Bastion setting a screen up top. What he does is he just rolls to the basket. The official comes over. He was inside the circle.
There's actually 2 circles there, the green one and the white one. It's the white one. And I don't know if the officials, oh yeah, they want to clean up to see exactly who the foul was on. It's Marshall. 3 fouls called against Southern Utah. UVU yet to commit a foul. Non-shooting. UVU still looking for their first basket here in this game. They've got a couple free throws down. Here comes a 3. Jackson missed it. Davis with the rebound.
These offensive boards, that was one of the keys to the game. Can't give up defensive boards, but with the smaller lineup, the Wolverines can pound the offensive glass, give themselves extra chances like they have here.
Ten seconds on the shot clock. Connor Fry and Bastion playing a little keep away. Bastion misses. Langston pulls down the rebound. Southern Utah wasting little time. That will be a charge. Alex Carr had position. Major ran right over him.
And Alex did a nice job of getting over, kind of anticipating that hop step there. Alex gets himself in position and gets the charge.
Sometimes you take a charge, you need ice.
Absolutely.
I hear you had a few of those when you played, my friend.
Only a couple. Probably can count them on one hand with 3 fingers. I don't think I had more than 3 in my career.
Marcel Davis, nice.
Yeah, that's terrific. Again, only that time Andrew was inside posting up, but we have seen Marcel be able to create his own opportunities by driving. Perfect example there.
Southern Utah loses it. Here comes Connor Fry and UVU. Davis, little floater in the lane, won't go. Ball goes off of Southern Utah. Davis getting some looks. He's already had 3 shots inside.
Yeah, and I really think that he probably thinks he's got to spark the team. He's got the ball in his hands a lot. He's that point guard, and if he can set the tone early, the team is going to follow, and I think he's done so.
UVU just 1 of 6, though. Davis for 3, bottom. 7 straight points for UVU. Southern Utah, 3 turnovers in the last 2 minutes and 18 seconds.
And the Wolverines have done a pretty good job with their perimeter defense, forcing it as a perimeter game, not allowing anything inside. Just as I say so, there's the drive, and Alex comes over with a great swipe away.
Alex Carr with it. Jackson. He'll shoot a couple. Southern Utah hasn't scored in almost 3 minutes.
Jim, what was the terminology that Coach Pope said that they wanted to play with this year? As you see a couple plays ago, Andrew Bashan with a really nice challenge, but the terminology that Coach Pope used was pace and space, right? Pace and space. I think the Wolverines so far are playing at the pace that they want to play at. They don't look rushed. They look like they're in a pretty good rhythm and comfortable with the way that they're playing. But the concept of space as well is very evident. Spreading out the court. On that possession, a nice job of Jaden driving from the baseline. Misses both free throws, but pace and space is what we have come to see from UVU early on in the year.
Jaden missed them both. Southern Utah missed the little turnaround by Oliverson. So it remains 7-2 right now, with just over 4 minutes. Travel is the call. Goes in the books as a turnover. It will bring us to our first media timeout. UVU, 7 straight points has put them up by 5.
You are watching UVU TV.
I hate math. I can't count how many times I've heard people say that. And as a math teacher, I take it personally. So, while working on my master's at UVU, I developed ways to help kids not hate math. Does engaged learning make a difference? You do the math.
Davis has outscored Southern Utah 7-2. Luckily, he plays for UVU.
The Wolverines have done a nice job of turning Southern Utah over. They've made 1 field goal, but the Wolverines have caused 4 turnovers. So, I think the theme from what I've seen in the first couple of minutes is if the Wolverines can keep Southern Utah on the perimeter and not allow them to get dribble drive penetration into the middle of the paint, then that will give them some success tonight, because they've done a great job so far. I mean, Southern Utah hasn't even attempted a 3-point field goal. They haven't got to the free throw line, and they've just turned the ball over so many times to get any type of a possession.
15.5 to play here, first period.
Get Jaden called with a foul here.
UVU's first foul of the game. Starting 5 still on the floor for UVU. We've played 4.5 minutes. Meanwhile, Coach Nick Robinson in his 4th season at Southern Utah has already had to substitute 3 players. McGee stops that little 7-0 run that UVU was on. Connor Fry jumper. Southern Utah with their 4th rebound here in the early going. Parsons, he was going to take it all the way to the hole. Instead he dished off, and now Alex Carr will be called for the hand check foul. Alex Carr, senior from Birmingham, Alabama. Andrew Bashan comes out for UVU. Goodman in.
We'll have to see Andrew's minutes here, Jim. We talked about just in the game a couple nights ago that he was limited in minutes. I don't know if we got any type of indication if that's going to be true again tonight, but he played a good stretch, over 5 minutes here. I don't think we saw him play that stretch a couple nights ago, so that's a good sign. They're probably going to work him, not overwork him tonight, and good opportunity for Dayon coming into the game.
Yeah, Tuesday night was Andrew Bastion's first game back after messing up his knee in the third game of the season, and there was a lot of consternation whether or not he was going to end up having surgery on that knee and possibly be out for the whole season. After consulting 2 different surgeons, one in California and one here, they said, no, he's fine. Davis is having a heck of a first half. He's got 10 points.
He's just finding spots, too. You know, that time he saw that Southern Utah had overcommitted on the transition defense. There wasn't anyone near him. He just pulled up behind the three-point line. I believe that was a pass from Connor Fry. Good transition offense there.
Southern Utah takes it inside. A.J. Hess gets it to go. Well, Marcel Davis has all 10 UVU points, and now he's got 12. Goodness gracious.
Pace and space, Jim. That space is so big for UVU. They've got perimeter guys, and Southern Utah hasn't adjusted to nobody inside. They've had some poor rotations as well, and Marcel is carving them up.
Nobody else for UVU has scored. Only 4 other shots between 3 different players. Nice one-handed slam by Juwan Major for Southern Utah as he found that opening.
Look at this transition, Jim.
Dayon.
Coach Nick Robinson is very upset right in front of us, and he's got a point. Dayon got away with a travel there, but nevertheless, a really nice transition opportunity. Jaden pushing it up on the wing, and Dayon right down the middle.
Baseline jumper, rattles around, drops through good for McGee. Marcel Davis gives over to Jaden Jackson. Now all of a sudden 3 different UVU players have scored.
And that was kind of a dribble at to Jaden in the corner. He just did a nice job of reading the defender and cut right back door to the basket. Southern Utah picking up the pace there too. Nice bucket from Trayvon Langston.
Jaden long 2. Southern Utah comes away with it. Running into Hayden Skank. Charging is the call. Making his appearance now for UVU. Ivory Young checks into the game. Alex Carr as well. Ivory Young gets a little round of applause from the fans here. He's missed the last 3 games, also with an injury to his ankle.
It's a good sign that he's back. He extends the defense like he's going to get an opportunity right here.
Can't get that one down. Southern Utah with their 6th rebound. Inside, that won't go. Alex Carr with the rebound for UVU. Davis tried to bounce it down low to Ivory Young. Ivory said, doggone, that was close. Kicked out of bounds. That'll bring us to immediate timeout. We'll take it with them. 11:44 to play, first half, UVU by 4.
I don't think of myself as just an undergrad. Okay, so I'm a sophomore, but I'm at UVU where it's all about engaged learning. Leading a project on DNA research, I don't have to wait for grad school to get this kind of experience. As a UVU student, I guess you could say engaged learning is in my DNA.
Back at the UCCU Center, Utah Valley right now out in front of Southern Utah by 4. 26-12 the score, or excuse me, 16-12 the score. Wishful thinking on my part here on UVU TV. Marcel Davis having a heck of a first half though. 12 points on 4 of 6 shooting for the senior out of American Fork, Utah. Meanwhile, for Southern Utah, 5 different players have scored, 2 each except for McGee, who has 4. Nice to see Coach Mark Pope has some additional arrows in the quiver tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. The injuries, they were very prevalent, but slowly we might see some guys coming back to the lineup for UVU, and it's just kind of a period of time in which the Wolverines had to fight and battle through it. And you get guys coming back, and as you said, it gives you just more opportunities, more things you can do on offense.
Davis, Skank, Young, Carr, and Goodman on the floor right now for Utah Valley. Marcel Davis, my goodness gracious. 14 points.
He's rolling right now, and they're just going to keep giving him the ball. That time it was almost like an isolation play. Got him on the wing. They cleared Dayon out of the lane somewhat, and Marcel took advantage. What a game so far.
If you're wondering, 21 is his career high. He's already got 14 here in the early going of this one. Ivory Young. Wow, he doesn't look hurt going to the hole there. Can't get it to go, though. If he's back at 100%, he was averaging in double figures before he went down with that ankle injury in Denver. The Wolverines get him back at full strength. It really help for the next 5 or 6 games, which is just the season is going to get much tougher pretty soon. Ball still belongs to Utah Valley. So UVU by 6, 18-12, the 6-point lead, their biggest of this first half.
Defensively, they've done a really nice job. The 2 leading scorers for Southern Utah, Langston with 2 points, Kennedy with 0 points, 3 shots between them. So those were our 2 key players for Southern Utah, and they have not come to play in tonight's game so far.
Seconds on the shot clock for UVU. Hayden Skank. Too hard off the glass. Southern Utah on the run the other way. Marshall. Gives over to Parsons. Back to Marshall.
And look, there's not a post player in there for Southern Utah. They're going to try and work the ball around potentially here for Daniel Melifon inside, but they keep it on the weak side.
UVU back the other way. They got numbers on this one. Connor Fry recognizes it, takes it in. UVU not shooting well right now. 7 of 18, just 39%. Connor Fry, I believe, is going to get called for the bump there. He does for UVU.
Well, and if you're looking at it from the coach's perspective and my perspective, seeing the game, you wouldn't think that the Wolverines would have this lead with Connor Fry, the leading scorer, with no points.
Right.
He hasn't had to carry the load. Marcel has done that, so you can continue to couple with Marcel what he's done and add Connor and a couple of the other players to that. That's a positive sign for the Wolverines.
Fry's first foul, 3rd team foul against UVU. Charge is the call. I thought they might just give him a travel there. Instead, A.J. Hess.
Terrific weak side defense and awareness there from Hayden Skank. We talked about Southern Utah spreading that ball out with their big setting some picks. Well, what that gives is you have charge opportunities. The Wolverines, I believe that's their 2nd tonight. If you're going to have people driving to the basket from the perimeter, if you're aware, you can take a lot of charges, and so far the Wolverines have done a nice job of rotating and taking those charges.
Corey Cardwell into the game for the first time for UVU. He's UVU's best 3-point shooter percentage-wise on the season, having made exactly half his 3-point attempts. Skank, just before the shot clock expired, buries the jumper. A little 6-0 run now for UVU. Coming up on 4 minutes since Southern Utah has scored. That time, Marshall had slipped down and was in the process of getting up when he caught the pass. His foot was on the baseline. Turnover.
The Wolverines are very active and very alive on defense. You saw the reaction from the bench there when they got that turnover. You know, this is some of the best defense we've seen the Wolverines play so far this year. Their rotations are on time. They're aware. They've got great help side defense. Love what I'm seeing so far from their defense.
Leon Goodman forces it in, can't get it down. Southern Utah can't handle the rebound, it goes out of bounds. It'll be UVU's ball underneath their glass. Offensive foul inside. Jaden Jackson, UVU. His second. His first UVU player with 2. It's a 4th team foul. 4.5 minutes since Southern Utah scored. They turned it over 3 times during that stretch. Looking for their first 3-pointer of the night as well. Instead, they try to work it inside to Oliverson. It'll be a foul inside against UVU.
Yeah, Corey Cardwell inside. Don't know if it happened on a switch, but battling to get around inside, and it's called for the foul.
That'll bring us to another media timeout. UVU out in front by 8. 7:48 left here on UVU TV.
They say the devil is in the details. And in here, there are a lot of details. Flavor, color, texture, temperature, presentation. It all has to be flawless. Pressure? Maybe. But with engaged learning, I get a lot of practice. And I'll bet your homework never tasted this good.
When I was hired as the new coach at UVU, I knew that if we were going to win games, we'd have to have fans in the seats. I'm not much of a marketing guy, but I have some friends that know a thing or two about it.
All right, Coach. This is all about face-to-face interaction. That was actually pretty good. If this whole basketball thing doesn't work out, you should give me a call.
If you're looking to earn money this summer, stop by the Vantage marketing booth on the concourse during our games or visit choosevantage.com.
You are watching UVU TV.
Third straight home game for UVU. They've lost the first 2, but right now they're out in front of Southern Utah 20-12. And I agree, Matt, this might be the best we've seen them play so far, at least in the first half. Although UC Davis game, they played really well the first half. They just couldn't hold it in the second half.
Yeah, they couldn't. They got out to a great start. And look at some of the stats so far. Southern Utah, only 13 shot attempts. I mean, they're 6 of 13. They've only taken 2 threes. And perhaps the best indicator to me of how well the Wolverine defense is playing is that Southern Utah has not attempted a free throw. You know, we're 12 minutes in, over 12 minutes into the game. They have not attempted a free throw. So, you know, the Wolverines are playing some terrific on-ball defense and help defense all around, and they've turned Southern Utah over 7 times, which has led to 7 points for themselves. Though, yeah, to me, definitely this is the best D I've seen them play.
Southern Utah technically out shooting UVU 46% to 40%. Just haven't taken as many shots. Here's a long 3. Clanked off and then clanked off the backboard and then clanked off Corey Cardwell.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want, a long 3-point shot. Corey a little bit off guard with the miss. It ricochets off him and out of bounds, but 4 seconds left on the shot clock as the ball never hit the rim.
See if they've got to play for 4 seconds. Thompson will take it, airballed it. It did not hit the rim, so it's a shot clock violation.
Wolverine basketball.
Goes in the books as another UVU turnover.
Yeah, that's
or another, excuse me, Southern Utah turnover.
Just more to our point. That's terrific when you can get those.
Jaden Jackson dishes off, Bastion rather, not able to finish. Bastion looking for his first points tonight. There's a long three. That won't go. Marcel Davis pulls down the rebound. Superman tonight. 14 points, 5 of 7 shooting. But Marcel, transferred from Utah State, played here last year for UVU, finishing up his senior season. Very young. Lightning fast, that time too fast for his own good. Lost the handle out of bounds, turnover UVU.
Yeah, I think Ivor tried to do a little bit too much there. Liked the initial move, but the defender had cut him off. Just tried to get a little bit too aggressive. You know, it's hard, I would think too, Jim. You know, first game back in a little while, and you know, trying to find your rhythm, and you've been out of action for a little bit, so hard to fault him there.
Over 6 minutes since Southern Utah has scored.
Get a foul there on Hayden Skank, trailing inside on Trayvon Langston.
Skank's first, team's 6th. UVU's been whistled for 6. Southern Utah whistled for 7. 6:20 to play. UVU very low scoring first half. Leading by 8. Bastion blocks that one straight down. Skank leads the attack coming the other way. Davis tried to hit Bastion. Southern Utah back the other way. Easy layup that time for Kennedy.
You know, unfortunate there, because what a play defensively from Andrew Bastion coming over. He has extreme height when he can reach his arm straight up in the air. Nice block. Just unfortunate turnover from Marcel led to the easy basket for the Thunderbirds.
Bastion leads UVU on the season with 7 blocks despite missing 3 games.
Here's a change defensively for Southern Utah as we get the shot from Alex Carr. They went to a 2-3 zone. First time I've seen that tonight. Previously they've been playing man, so they're switching up their defense a little bit.
Southern Utah, perimeter game right now. 10 seconds on the shot clock. They'll kick it outside. Hess will take the 3. Bastion with the rebound.
See what the Wolverines do against this zone. Against the man, they were setting a lot of perimeter screens. Andrew Bastion would come up. Let's see if he kind of works around the perimeter, or he's still going to be active in setting some screens around the top. He'll work his way inside.
Marcel takes it in, kicks it out to Skank in the corner. 5 seconds to shoot. Carr for 3. Southern Utah leading the rebounding war right now, 15-14. Oh my goodness, rejected again.
That was, I mean, that takes some serious skill to do this, because you get kind of, you're switched basically. You're helping out on the picks on the ball. Look at that recovery. Terrific job of moving his feet. He doesn't create any contact with Trey Kennedy. He just knows that the shot's going up, and he timed it beautifully. 2 terrific blocks from Andrew Bastion.
Welcome back, Andrew Bastion. Started the first 3 games, got injured. Skank comes up with another steal. 1-on-1. This kid's impressive. Hayden Skank walked on the team, serving a mission, LDS mission up in Idaho. Averaging 5 points a game and 4 rebounds a game, but he's coming off a career-high 12 points on Tuesday night against Montana State.
Well, he did a really nice job. He created the steal, but then in transition, he didn't force the action. He took his time, he backed the defender down, and just basically read what the defense was playing him and tried to draw some contact there. He did, but a good strong finish from Hayden Skank, and what a welcome sign for the Wolverines to get terrific play from him off the bench.
Yeah, if you haven't followed the Wolverines season so far through the first 7 games, well, it's just been a story of injuries. For 2 or 3 games, Coach Mark Pope and his staff, you see there, only had 9 players available to him, and I'm not so sure all 9 were even healthy. They've already lost 3 starters for the season to injury. You see Hayes Garrity staying there in the gray. All the guys dressed in gray can't play. They're either injured or redshirting. pretty sad when you got as many guys dressed in gray as you do in green.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is what it is. Injury's part of the game. That's what they always say. Coach Pope in his inaugural season here at Utah Valley University, just their second coach in Division I since they've gone Division I. Replaced the icon Dick Hunsaker, who was here for 13 years and won over 230 games as a head coach. It's kind of tough to fill shoes like that.
Absolutely.
You played for Coach Hunsaker.
I did. It was definitely a learning experience for me, and I'll never forget it. You know, wonderful time to be a Wolverine fan with the change going on, and bright future in store continually for the Wolverines. They've got nowhere to go but up. I wanted to make a point, Jim, that I talked a little bit about how this is probably the best defensive performance that we've seen from the Wolverines. Their offense, can you believe it, is what's struggled for them. Normally that's been their strong point for UVU, but their D is taking care of itself in an offense. They just need to continue to be patient. They're getting great looks, getting great shots. Eventually they'll find a rhythm on offense.
Well, both teams shooting well below their season average. Still got 4 minutes here in the first half. UVU up by 8. 5-second shot clock. Turnaround jump hook, climbs over and goes down for Oliverson.
Really nice move there from Oliverson, because what he did is he made a quick move. Andrew Bastian was on him. He did not give Andrew enough time to read what was coming. Just a quick move and a quick basket.
Bastian a little rusty inside. Southern Utah back the other way. Southern Utah turns it over. Their 10th turnover here in the first half.
Yeah, that has really been their Achilles heel, because they're not getting as many shots as they're used to. Should we not be at immediate timeout here?
Yeah, the officials blew that one. That should have been immediate timeout. We were under the 4-minute mark. It was a dead ball situation. They didn't call it. All right, coach's timeout took care of that. So that coach's timeout prior to the 4-minute mark would have been the last immediate timeout. So there won't be another immediate timeout here in the first half. It's a new rule they implemented this year.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Anytime there's a coach's timeout within 30 seconds of the 4-minute or the 12, the 8, the 4-minute mark, that counts as the immediate timeout.
Good to know. I thought I knew all the rules, not that one apparently. Southern Utah back to this man-to-man. That's going to bode well for the Wolverines, because they're going to be able to dribble drive.
Marcel misses the 3. Southern Utah fighting for the rebound. They come away with it. Coach Nick Robinson up saying, calm down, slow it down. 2.5 to play. Southern Utah did lead this one 2-0. UVU ran off 7 straight points. Actually, Marcel Davis scored the first 12 points of the game for UVU. Connor Fry still scoreless, which is amazing. He's averaging almost 18 points a game coming in here. Davis for 3. That won't go. Southern Utah pulls down yet another rebound.
Yeah, the Wolverines have gone cold on offense, but luckily their defense is holding tight here, only allowing 16 points up to this point.
UVU just 2 of their last 12. Southern Utah 2 of their last 14. Neither team really wants to score, evidently. Ashton denied a block that time because the foul occurred before the block. The foul's going to get called on Andrew Bastian.
And I think how well the Wolverines can defend this play that we just saw, that's going to determine the outcome, a large part of the outcome of the game, because on the previous possession, Andrew did a nice job of, well, a couple possessions earlier, Andrew did a really nice job of not creating contact or not getting called for a foul, and forces the, I think that was the play where he got the blocked shot. But Southern Utah is setting picks on the ball with their bigs. The Wolverines so far look like they're trying to switch that, or at least getting their bigs active as the guard drives off of the pick. And how well the bigs play, or rotation that comes off of that action, because that's a big part of what Southern Utah has tried to do so far. How well UVU can defend that will be a key.
These are the first 2 free throws for Southern Utah in this game. We come at the 1:48 mark.
Timeout here from Coach Robinson.
Just a 30-second timeout, so we'll stay here. UVU out in front by just 4. UVU, we mentioned earlier, their schedule gets quite tougher after tonight. Next week, 2 games at home against Weber State on Wednesday, then a week from tonight at Idaho State. The following week, the week before Christmas, at San Antonio, Texas, UTSA. Then the following week, Christmas week, they're going to be in Louisville for a tournament. Tuesday and Wednesday, taking on UNC Wilmington, and then playing Louisville on Wednesday night, the 23rd. Fly home on Christmas Eve, spend Christmas here in Utah, and then turn around and go play St. Mary's. That is quite the schedule. Weber State, Idaho State, San Antonio, Wilmington, Louisville, St. Mary's. Ouch. Then conference play starts. So they would love to take care of business here against Southern Utah. UVU basketball. Southern Utah had that long scoring drought. Now UVU on a little scoring drought of their own, 244 since they last scored.
And they got great looks. They just haven't been able to knock them down. And this is what I think we are going to see. What do we get here? Foul on Alex Carr of some sort. I didn't see it was off the ball, but when Darius comes into the game, he is a real back to the basket threat, and they've tried on these last 2 possessions. 2 times they've had the ball to try and dump that ball inside to get him some touches.
I've noticed this a lot. Southern Utah lets the ball roll as far as they can. Is that to give them more time?
I think so. Just advance the ball, give themselves a little bit more time on offense. Turnover here.
A steal there. They cannot convert, but Langston will be at the free throw line. That foul against Alex Carr, his 3rd. So 2 quick fouls against the senior for Birmingham.
Yeah, how many times have we seen Southern Utah in the paint with shots and opportunities like that? It seems like that's kind of been the flow of the game, and even just on that side of the rim. So at times the Wolverines not able to get out of the situation after the turnover in transition.
Five straight points from Southern Utah now. They draw to within 3. And UVU has been outscored at the free throw line, 3-2. After you just said earlier, Southern Utah hasn't even been there.
No, the Wolverines haven't been there either. But minute 15, I think the Wolverines need to get a good possession here, get a stop, and build something going into the second half. Here's what we thought, pounding that ball inside to Darius.
Darius Hamilton can't get it down. UVU shooting just 9 of 28 from the floor. Under a minute to play till halftime.
That pick on the ball, Jim. Pick on the ball, and you see how, almost fell there, but Trayvon Langston coming off picks. That's what Southern Utah's trying to do.
Marcel Davis is having the game of his life. He's already got a season high 16 points.
And what control. Absolute control in the paint, sidestepping a defender, coming off his own pick. He's been fantastic.
About a 4-second differential shot clock and game clock. Southern Utah will have to put it up with at least 4 seconds left. Inside and 1. Oliverson.
This is another dangerous aspect. I think they're going to get Corey Caldwell with the blocking foul, but what you get when you do picks on the ball, and what we've seen from Southern Utah is they've been very active with their guards driving. Well, if their guards get cut off, that big, in that case, Oliverson simply rolls down the middle of the paint and gets the and 1.
UVU can go for the last shot, or can they? It'll still be Wolverine basketball. Just 5.7 left. Marcel Davis has got it. Who else do you want? Davis. Oh, are you kidding me? As time expires, Marcel Davis, 18 points in the first half, a season high, just 3 away from tying his career high. He's still got 20 minutes of the second half to do that. But thank goodness Marcel Davis is here for UVU as they lead it by 4 as the teams go to the locker room. All right, we'll step aside and come back with our halftime show here at Utah Valley University as UVU leading the Thunderbirds of Southern Utah by 4.
You're watching UVU TV.
People talk about life after college, you know, entering the real world. But this is engaged learning. I'm not just reading about it or watching someone else do it. I'm learning by doing. I'm at UVU. I'm in the real world every day.
Back at the UCCU Center, Jim McCullough along with Matt Peterson. UVU leading Southern Utah 26-22, a 4-point bulge. Very low scoring game for those of you keeping track at home. UVU just 2-1 on this young season when they lead at halftime. But it was the Marcel Davis show, Matt, in that first half. 18 points.
He was fantastic. He was a key player. We talked about he's the point guard. He has the ball in his hands, bringing it up, initiating the offense, setting the tone early on, and he definitely did that for UVU. What didn't happen, though, was that everyone else kind of caught on to that. Marcel was the one to really carry the load. The other key player, Connor Fry, who's been fantastic offensively this year, he didn't score. He only got 2 shots. He didn't score in the first half, so that was a surprise. And Marcel carried the load, but I think they're going to have to get other teammates involved. Not saying that Marcel is playing selfish by any means, because he has been fantastic, but the other players got to come along with him because their defense was just as good. I talked about that throughout the full half. Holding Southern Utah to 35%, 0 of 6 from the 3-point line.
All right, we're going to take a look at some first half highlights. I'll let you talk us through these. What we're seeing here. A foul on Southern Utah, obviously.
From what we're talking about, I mean, it's going to be Marcel because, and watch what the theme of these shots are going to be. He has had a couple threes, but a lot of these highlights are going to come baskets inside the paint from Marcel, pushing the action, pushing the plays forward. But there's a nice charge taken from Alex Carr. But again, here's Marcel going inside, driving and being very aggressive when it comes to how he's initiated the offense. So terrific half from Marcel.
The only 3-pointers made by UVU were made by Marcel Davis. And after Marcel's 18, it drops off quick. Just 4 points for Hayden Skank, 2 for Jaden Jackson, and 2 for Dayon Goodman. 4 Wolverine players scored. 3 starters didn't even score, man, including Connor Fry, you've already talked about. Yeah. That's amazing to me.
It is. It's not what we were expecting because it's not what we've seen so far. I think it's reminiscent of the other night against Well, yeah, it was the other night when the Wolverines were playing against Montana State. Remember, Jaden, I believe, had 14 points in the first half, right? He carried the offense in the first half, but he had some other players score with him as well. So I can imagine that Southern Utah in the second half is really going to focus their defensive efforts on Marcel, and that's going to mean that other guys are going to have to be real active and step up their game too.
All right, evidently we're showing a lot of fouls going on in this game, and that's because there were 10 fouls whistled against UVU, 7 against Southern Utah. Got some players in some foul trouble. Alex Carr for UVU with 3, Jaden Jackson with 2, Corey Cardwell with 2. For Southern Utah, 2 fouls each against Juwan Major and Trey Kennedy. 10 turnovers against Southern Utah. You saw most of them there on the highlights. Utah Valley with 8 turnovers themselves. Neither team shooting well, Matt. 35% for Southern Utah, 37% in the first half for UVU.
Yeah, I mean, it's unexpectedly that way for the Wolverines because so far this year they've been pretty good at that. Again, can't say enough about their defense. Look at the key players for Southern Utah. You have Trayvon Langston with 5 points, Trey Kennedy with 2 points. So we see the stats up here. You know, those 3 blocks, I think they all came from Andrew Bastian inside. But the Wolverines have done a nice job containing Southern Utah's main players, main scorers on offense.
Well, we talked earlier about the fact that, you know, Southern Utah is coming off a 105-point performance on Thursday night. Just 48 hours ago, that at home against Laverne. That was their highest scoring game of the season. They're averaging 78 points a game. UVU, no slouch. They're scoring 72 a game. So this score surprises me. Both teams on their way to season lows at this rate.
Just didn't feel right at times in that first half. Even though Marcel had such a great first half, it just didn't feel like the Wolverines ever really got into a rhythm, because when they're really in a rhythm, everyone is involved and they're shooting the ball a lot better. But pretty good job from UVU on both sides.
All right, we'll be back in a minute.
When I was hired as the new coach at UVU, I knew that if we were going to win games, we'd have to have fans in the seats. I'm not much of a marketing guy, but I have some friends that know a thing or two about it.
All right, Coach. This is all about face-to-face interaction. That was actually pretty good. If this whole basketball thing doesn't work out, you should give me a call.
If you're looking to earn money this summer, stop by the Vantage marketing booth on the concourse during our games or visit choosevantage.com.
CCU Center. We're at halftime. Utah Valley leading Southern Utah University 26-22, 4-point lead. Matt Peterson, we talked in the pregame show a little bit about the keys to victory for UVU tonight. Yep. Rebounding was one of those, and right now the two teams tied at 19 apiece in rebounding.
Yeah, and neither team has got an advantage on the offensive side. Southern Utah with 3, UVU with 4. Southern Utah 16 defensive boards, UVU with 15. Avoiding turnovers, you know, both teams pretty similar there. 10 for Southern Utah, which has led to 9 UVU points, and then 8 turnovers for UVU, which has led to 7 SUU points. So pretty even on those first 2 points, and then staying out of foul trouble. We didn't really have any foul trouble to speak of for either team in the first half. So, you know, we see the score what it is, and you know the stats bear that out, and our keys to the game bear that out as well. Both teams playing pretty even so far.
All right, we're going to take one more break. When we get back, we'll be talking to one of the associate athletic directors here at UVU. Wolverines by
4. You're watching UVU TV.
People talk about college like you're in some kind of bubble. Like there's college, and then there's the real world. Hey, this is UVU. You're not just reading about it or watching someone else do it. This is engaged learning. At the certificate, associate's, bachelor's, or master's level, you're in the real world every day.
Back at the UCCU Center, Utah Valley leading Southern Utah at halftime, scored 26-22. I'm Jim McCullough. We're joined now by Senior Associate Athletic Director Jared Sumption, who just barely made it here in time, my friend. Everybody wants to talk to you about football. When's UVU getting a football team? That's what they talk to you more about than any other thing, isn't it?
That's a great question, and my answer is we have a football team.
Oh, stop it.
That made it to the NCAA tournament this year, so we're pretty happy with the football we have going on campus right now.
Yeah, the soccer team was amazing this year.
Yeah, it's been a great season for men's and women's soccer. Second year men's soccer to make it to the NCAA tournament with an at-large bid. Phenomenal. It's been a great year.
So what else is going on other than soccer making it to the NCAA tournament first time ever?
Soccer mania. The women's team just doing so well too, getting to the NCAA tournament for the first time, winning the WAC championship. And then our women's basketball team's playing pretty well right now. They're 6-4 to start the year. Just got beat by Oregon today, up at Oregon.
Wow.
Tough place to play, but
it was a close game. I hope.
It was a close game. They lost within 10, and then they played Alabama last week, and they lost by 6 or 7. I can't remember, but they were up against Bama, and they're playing real well. It's
now,
nice to see them.
Is it my imagination, or are UVU teams across the board playing a better schedule than ever before?
Definitely. Things have changed for us so fast. The evolution of UVU athletics has really allowed us to schedule differently. It's been a great year, with the exception of a few sports. Like, for example, going back to men's soccer, it's hard to get teams in here. We're having to pay money to get people in here.
Really?
So,
Why is that? When you have a great program, they should be willing to come out here and enjoy the wonderful inversion, et cetera, et cetera. Come on.
Soccer teams don't like to play at elevation. We're the only team in the state, so they don't get a second game when they come here. They have to fly to UNLV or Air Force or Denver. And mostly people are just scared. I mean, I'll say it on air. They're scared to come to Utah and play in front of 2,000 or 3,000 fans. They're not used to it. It's a different environment, and we've created something special here, and it's carrying over to other sports as well.
That's a heck of a home field advantage. All right, let's talk about men's basketball. What do you think of that first half?
you know, it was great. If we could make those little 5-foot shots, I think we'd be just fine. But they're playing tough. That's the thing I love about this team is they play tough and they give it their all. We may not be the most athletic team out there, but they'll play as hard as they possibly can.
All right, they're telling me that you're going to have to get out of here because we're about to start our second half. We're probably going to go to a wide shot so you can walk off, my friend. Good to see you again.
Good.
Senior Associate Athletic Director Jared Sumption. Oh, we're going to take a break. All right, we'll be back in a minute.
Watching UVU TV.
You haven't missed anything. First few seconds of the second half. Southern Utah starts with possession. Trailing by 4. Alex Carr with the rebound.
Southern Utah missed a lot of layups in that first half, and they continue the trend here in the second half. Turnover there for the Wolverines. Ball just ricocheted off of Alex Carr.
Carr's out there with 3 fouls. Only player on either team with 3. Jackson and Cardwell have 2 each for Utah Valley. We talked about that during the halftime show. Southern Utah officials have taken their time deciding whose ball, or they're going to give it to Southern Utah.
They're going to say Alex Carr poked that one out from behind.
Carr with those 3 fouls takes a seat real quick. So he played all of 38 seconds. Skank replaces him in the lineup for UVU. Well, guess who? Here comes Fry, 3-on-1. Behind the back, Jaden Jackson can't finish. Ball slapped around, out of bounds, belongs to Southern Utah. It was a heck of a pass.
It was.
Would have been really great if you could finish it off. That would have been a highlight worth showing.
The only negative was it was a little late. You know, they had a 3-on-1, maybe a little bit earlier pass to the wing. You could have gotten that ball back behind the back pass, kind of delayed, threw off the timing.
Wow. Oliverson, it's a very nice shot he's got there. Just like that, Southern Utah within 2.
Jim, the Thunderbirds coming out here showing a little bit more life, a little bit more energy in the first couple possessions here than the Wolverines. That's a lot of what Coach Pope has talked about. Is got to have a lot of energy, a lot of emotion that they're playing with. And Southern Utah seems they've started the second half with a little bit more than UVU.
Bastion cannot finish. He was fouled. That one against Trayvon Langston, his first, team's first of this half.
Yeah, when Andrew Bastion gets out on the perimeter, he's very active in setting picks, and then what he does is he rolls hard to the basket right down the middle of the lane. That time, that ball worked its way around to Connor, and very nice timing on the pass as Andrew was rolling right down the middle of the paint. Southern Utah has done that too. Their bigs, Oliverson, setting picks up at the top, and if he's not staying up there setting picks, he's usually turning around and rolling to the rim.
Bastion's first point of the night comes from the free throw line. 0 for 4 from the floor. He has pulled down 3 rebounds. Blocked quite a few shots on him. 3 of them. Two minutes gone here in the second half. Southern Utah looking to fight their way back into a lead here. Another foul against UVU. Skank a little slow to get up that time. He's coming off knee surgery. We've got more Wolverines wearing knee braces than we have in the past 5 years put together, I think.
Absolutely. That time there, Hayden just got caught with biting on the pump fake inside from Trey Kennedy.
Hayden Skank's second foul, team first of the half.
I always make this point, Jim. When the leading scorers of the opposing team have a quiet first half, you've got to be on the lookout in the second half for them to be a lot more aggressive. Nice dish off there from Marcel. Just carving up on the dribble drive. Whether it's a layup, that time a nice dish off, he is doing it all.
Marcel Davis, just 2 assists in this game, travel the other way. Davis showing you why he's team leader at almost 5 assists a game. Last year he finished, I believe, second in the WAC in assists. Marcel Davis so far scoreless here in the second half. Played 2.5, had 18 points in the first half. Jaden Jackson, nothing. Andrew Basham cleans the boards and then dribbles on the baseline.
Nice job of coming down with the offensive board. Just took too big of a drop step there, stepped on the line. He's got some serious size, Jim, because he's a big body, but then when he gets his arms and he reaches as high as he can, and that was the case on that rebound, just his height, sheer size came down with the ball.
6'9", 235 is what they listed. Usually teams, shall we say, exaggerate both height and weight. I'm not so sure they did on him.
No, I don't think so.
Basham pulls down his 5th rebound. Green's looking to increase this 3-point lead. Basham misses the slam.
Another great dish off from Marcel. Andrew just unable to finish.
Southern Utah just 1 of 5 here in the second half. Bastion blocks another one. Davis lead pass. Jackson caught up with it. Has it stolen away. 5 block shots for Andrew Bastion.
Now when coming over from the weak side again, awareness, being alert, seeing the opportunity for help defense. Here comes another one.
Putback won't go. Connor Fry caught an arm or an elbow to the jaw on the rebound from John Marshall. It was inadvertent, but his second foul against Marshall. Ivory Young, Dayon Goodman into the game for UVU. Four minutes gone here in the second half. UVU still nursing a 3-point lead. Fry for 3. That won't go. He's still scoreless. 17 points a game he's averaging coming in here. 17.7 to be exact. Scoreless tonight. 0 for 3. Southern Utah for 3. And are you kidding me? 15 and a half to play. We're tied at 29.
That was good ball movement for Southern Utah, just being patient, working around the perimeter.
Their first 3 of the night. Ivory Young, bottom for UVU.
Yeah, that's a big shot because it's going to give him confidence, but more than anything, a much-needed basket for UVU.
Ivory Young, 7 of 14 on the season from long range. Missed the last 3 games due to an ankle injury. Southern Utah tried to cut the back door with Casey Oliverson. Couldn't do it. Turnover. First media timeout of the second half. UVU leads by 3.
You are watching UVU TV.
talk about college like you're in some kind of bubble. Like there's college, and then there's the real world. Hey, this is UVU. You're not just reading about it or watching someone else do it. This is engaged learning. At the certificate, associate's, bachelor's, or master's level, you're in the real world every day.
Back in Orem, Utah, Jim McCullough along with Matt Peterson. Still 14:45 to play here in the second half. Very low-scoring game, but still entertaining, still interesting.
Absolutely, and looking at the stats here, remarkably similar. You know, the teams are one shot off on total field goal attempts, one shot off on threes, one shot off on free throws, one rebound off, 3 total points off, 1 assist off, 1 turnover off. Wolverines have the clear advantage in blocks, and you know that bears out the fact that the game is so close here. But my goodness, how close have the stats been in this game? And you know the Wolverines nursing this lead here. Hopefully they can continue to do so.
Davis, Jackson, Young, Carr, and Goodman on the floor right now.
It's going to be an offensive foul on Alex Carr. This is something we've seen a lot this year. Not necessarily on that action, but moving screens. That time Alex was not set, where it was just an action on the weak side where he gets called for the offensive foul. That's his 4th, right? I mean, that's a big foul.
Yeah.
Because he's now got to go to the bench.
Things look like they're getting just a little more physical to me out there. Marshall having a little trouble with it on the floor, tied up. Possession arrow goes UVU.
Great defense here. The Wolverines did a nice job of proper spacing, proper alignment as the ball was being moved around the perimeter. No opportunity for driving from Southern Utah. And they get rewarded with some great hustle, and the ball goes their way.
Ivory Young takes it in, gets it to go. 4 straight points from Ivory Young. UVU out by 5. Their biggest lead has been 8. Southern Utah's biggest lead was when it was 2-0.
Wolverines doing a lot of switching too, Jim, with this similar lineup. Terrific hustle there.
Jay Jackson saved it, but right back to Southern Utah.
Yeah, hard to fault the effort there. The ball just didn't fall their way, but UVU on defense doing a lot of switching, which has helped them.
Goodman.
Really strong move from Dayon inside using the left hand. That's a much needed interior basket. Terrific skill shown there from Dayon.
Well, Dayon commits the foul this time. For Dayon, his first, team's 3rd of this half. UVU with a 5-point lead. At halftime, 26-22. Still a little over 13 minutes to play here at the UCCU Center. UVU still 1 more home game during this 4-game stretch of home games. Comes up Wednesday night hosting Weber State. Now got their hands full with these Thunderbirds now. All the way, Trey Kennedy.
Yeah, that was really good patience on offense from the Thunderbirds. And a nice job from Trey Kennedy getting that ball and immediately making his move. The defense was just slightly off balance and he saw the opening.
Kennedy's got 6. Nobody in double figures for Southern Utah. Jaden Jackson finally gets it to go down from up top. He's got 4 points. Off the glass. Are they going to count it?
I believe so.
And 1.
I mentioned earlier in the game that I thought this action was going to determine and be a big key for the success that UVU has. It's those picks on the ball up top, and you see the separation that's given there. Dayon gets a little bit too separated. Maybe it was a miscommunication somehow, but way too much space there from Trey Kennedy, allowing him to drive right down the middle.
Back to just a 2-point game. UVU's 5-point lead evaporated pretty quickly. Marcel Davis, who had 18 points in the first half, still scoreless, but going for 3 here. There you go, just tied a career high with 21 points.
What a shot, and a great skip pass there from Ivory, because the Thunderbirds almost double teamed on the perimeter. Ivory with a great skip pass, and Marcel knocking down the shot.
Long 3 is good from Southern Utah's Race Parsons. It won't go away. Back to a 2-point game again. Jaden Jackson gives over to Marcel Davis. Jackson will take the 3. Rims around and out. Southern Utah. 3 the own way. That won't go. Basham pulls down the rebound. His 6th. Jackson takes it in, stripped. Southern Utah comes away with it. Collision inside. Marcel Davis thought he had position. He did. Foul against Kennedy.
Pace and tempo has really picked up for both teams. A lot of action. Nice charge taken from Marcel.
Media timeout. Wolverines leading just by 2 points. Just under 11 minutes to play here at the UCCU Center.
When I was hired as the new coach at UVU, I knew that if we were going to win games, we'd have to have fans in the seats. I'm not much of a marketing guy, but I have some friends that know a thing or two about it.
All right, Coach. This is all about face-to-face interaction. That was actually pretty good. If this whole basketball thing doesn't work out, you should give me a call.
If you're looking to earn money this summer, stop by the Vantage marketing booth on the concourse during our games or visit choosevantage.com.
You're watching UVU TV.
UVU shooting 55% here in the second half. Much better than they shot in the first half, where they shot only 37%. Of course, Southern Utah starting to play better too. They're shooting 43% here in the second half compared to just 35 in the first half. And that's why it's just a 2-point game.
I think that the energy has really picked up in the last couple minutes here, and it's going to set for an exciting final 11 here, because speed, pace, everything is picked up on both sides. Tensions I was mentioning to you during the break. I saw Race Parsons on Southern Utah's sideline yelling at Trayvon Langston. They were going back and forth a little bit, so the stress level and the tension level has definitely risen. We'll see how that plays out on the floor.
By the way, the 5 block shots by Andrew Bashton ties him with a bunch of other players for 4th on the UVU all-time or single game list. One more to put him in his 2-way tie with Joe Walker at 6 apiece. Right now, I think UVU would be happy to just score some points. Forget the block shots. Ivory Young for 3. Won't go. Basham with a rebound. Strong. Back up and in.
Nice. He thought about passing that up, but I love his aggressiveness. He's got that size. He made a quick, decisive move. And terrific finish. Well done. I mean, you got to put that ball right back up when you're inside and you get the offensive board.
5 points, 7 rebounds, 5 block shots for Andrew Basham. Nice from Oliverson.
Yeah, that was a nice play. Andrew Bashan knew what was coming, but again, quick move from Oliverson gave him the advantage.
10 minutes left. Ivory Young got contact, no call. Ball slapped around out front. Connor Fry grabs it and tried to call a timeout as soon as he grabbed the ball. The official saying no, it
looked like
Southern Utah ball.
I don't think he stepped out of bounds. What was wrong with that play? I think that's one of the changes because he looked like he got the timeout before he went out of bounds. The official didn't point like he went out of bounds. Maybe that's not allowable. Unfortunate because great hustle there, but we're going to get a foul inside Andrew Bastion.
For Bastion, his second personal foul. Team's fifth here in the second half.
Yeah, he and Oliverson are really battling inside.
That one didn't hit the iron. Jaden Jackson comes away with it. Hayden Skink. 9.5 to play. Ivory Young slices through, lays it up and in.
Wow, Ivory really aggressive driving. I normally see him more out on the perimeter with the long three ball, but that's more than multiple times tonight. He's driven inside the paint and created the opportunity. He had the switch of Oliverson out on him. I think he knew he had the advantage and great body control.
Ivory Young with 7 points. UVU with a 4-point lead. Well, now back down to 1 after McGee drills the 3.
Banked it in too. Pretty good defense there, but bank shot goes.
Connor Fry looking for his first points. Still looking. McGee takes it all the way. Won't go. Tip won't go. UVU's got numbers coming back the other way. Skank. I'm sure he knew what he wanted to do with the ball. As a result, he charged.
Now, Race Parsons, he's going to be coming out of the game. He took a shot there going for the ball with Connor Fry. He looks a little woozy, but a couple minutes ago, or starting the second half, we talked about the paces. Tempo is picked up, but you have to play smart and under control when your pace picks up, and I don't think either team has done a good job of that in the last couple of possessions. It's really been sloppy out there.
Skank picked up the foul, his third. He's replaced in the lineup by Corey Cardwell.
And we're going to get a lot of this. Picks on the ball from 32. Oliverson up top trying to create it. If they get a mismatch, they're going to look to dump it in.
Connor went for the steal, didn't get it. Foul inside, going to go.
Connor did a really, I think they just called a kick ball there.
Okay.
Connor did a really nice job rotating over as Oliverson had a mismatch inside. Connor went out of his area, came over and deflected the ball.
The official turned around and signaled 1-5.
I thought there was a kick. It didn't look like there was a foul call. I think it was.
Yeah, it's not a foul.
Just a kick ball. There's another dribble drive.
That 3 won't go. Oliverson won't go. UVU hanging to a 1-point lead. Under 8 to play. Nobody to pass to. Take the 3. Miss it. Connor Fry, not his best night. 0 for 5 from the floor. Marcel Davis only 3 points here in the second half. Southern Utah back out in front for the first time since it was 2-0.
And Oliverson is very crafty inside. Knows how to position himself, and with Andrew Bastion out, he's been very active inside and really soft-handed putback there. The Wolverines are searching for answers on offense.
Dayon Goodman misses. UVU 8 of 18 this half. Coming up on 7 minutes left. Both teams have hit only 2 of their last 8 shots. 4 seconds to shoot. Langston used the entire shot clock that time. Marcel Davis, fairly quiet second half. Not anymore.
Terrible defense there. Marcel saw Connor coming over as if to set a screen. What he did was simply take that ball away from the screen, spread him out on defense, and Marcel, beautiful finish.
Marcel Davis, 23 points. Next highest score for UVU is Ivory Young with 7. Oh, Southern Utah comes right back with a 3 of their own.
You know, James McGee for Southern Utah.
Timeout here, Matt. Media timeout finally. Sorry. We'll be back for your comments in 60 seconds with UVU trailing by 2. Back at the UCCU Center, UVU down by 2. They have led by as many as 8 in this game, have the Wolverines. But right now, Southern Utah flexing a little muscle of their own. UVU led at halftime by 4.
The point I was going to make right before we went to timeout there is James McGee is the best three-point shooter for the Thunderbirds. He's attempted the most on the year. He's attempted 36 threes. He's a 42% shooter. Tonight, he's 3 of 4 from the three-point line. So the Wolverines have to be aware of when that ball is getting rotated around the perimeter. If it gets into his hands, he's a three-point shooter. And they've got to do their best to close out, force him off the three-point line, because he's attempted 36 threes on the year. He's 45 total shots on the year, so he's a three-point shooter.
Under 6 to play. UVU looking for their 3rd win of this season.
5 seconds on the shot clock.
Davis, Superman. Yeah, it's a career high. Easy for him. It was 21 before tonight. Now he's got 25. We're tied at 49. 3rd time this game has been tied. We've had 4 lead changes.
Oh man.
Alex Carr might have just fouled out.
I think he did, and the worst part about it is he fouled again, the three-point shooter on the three-point shot.
Alex Carr, the senior from Birmingham, Alabama, takes that long, lonely walk to the bench after fouling out with no points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist.
Well, and that play looked like it was drawn up for a three-point attempt from James McGee, and Alex did a nice job of trailing. I think his momentum carried him into McGee as the shot was going up.
The officials want to come to the monitor and double check, I believe, to see if it indeed was a 3-point, if he was on the line for a 3 or maybe a 2. There's no doubt that it was a foul against Alex Carr. It's just a question of, are you going to give him 2 free throws or 3?
You know, and they might also be, they're looking also at, I don't think they're looking at McGee's, they're looking at Marcel's, because on the previous possession, they're looking to see whether or not his attempt was a 3 or a 2. That's what's playing on the monitor over there.
All right, when they walked over, so we want to see the 3. I assumed it was that one.
Yeah, my long distance eyes here, I think that's going to be a 3.
Right now, we're tied at 49. Lowest score for UVU this season has been 54 points. That was in their opener against BYU.
Yeah, that's going to be a 3.
So Davis does have 25 points. Again, a career high. Boy, it drops off. He's got 25. Ivory Young's got 7. Jackson and Skank and Goodman have 4 apiece. You didn't hear the name Connor Fry or Darius Hamilton in there. 2 guys who've so far this season been doing pretty well. Connor Fry comes in here averaging 17.7 a game. He's scoreless tonight. Yeah, he has pulled down 6 rebounds. He's played hard. He's been a factor. Just nothing to show for it on the score sheet.
Yeah, it just hasn't looked himself. Luckily, Marcel's picked up the slack here. But coming down the stretch, 5.5 minutes. I think you're going to see the ball when Southern Utah has it in Trayvon Langston's hands, in Trey Kennedy's hands. They're going to be coming off of picks, they're going to be driving, and they're going to look to either take it to the rim or they're going to be looking to dish it off. And the way things are going for James McGee, he's going to be getting some looks, opportunities, drawn up plays for him, and if they can get that dribble drive, those kicks out to him. So that's how I see the Wolverines needing to focus their defense in the last little bit.
Shooter's bounce. He's made 2 of the first, or he's made his first 2.
It's going to be very similar for UVU. Marcel's going to have the ball. He's going to be the guy that's going to drive them. But it's going to be a lot of the same type of game plan for UVU.
UVU facing their biggest deficit of this game. Well, the tie, rather, at 2. Marcel Davis turns that one over. Southern Utah comes away with the pick. And UVU takes it right back the other way. Here comes Marcel. He'll slow it down. Under 5 to play. Ivory for 3. Bastion fights for the rebound. Southern Utah basketball.
Great hustle there. Andrew rebounding out of his area. Like a good call from this angle going off him, unfortunately.
Connor Fry in. Hayden Skank out for UVU.
Wolverine fans, let's make some noise. Wolverine defense.
Pick on the ball.
Block shot. Bastion's got 6 blocks. Rejected that one. 8 seconds on the shot clock for Southern Utah to work with. I don't think they know. Well, oh, are you kidding me? A.J. Hess.
It's amazing how many times those shots go in. You get the ball, you know you don't have any time, you don't have time to think about it, and you just let it fly. And timely shot. Unfortunate break for UVU because that was a great defensive possession.
Jaden Jackson back the other way. That stops a little 6-0 spurt that Southern Utah was on. UVU down by 3 with 3.5 to play.
Yeah, big shot there from Jaden coming off the screen in rhythm. Knockdown bucket.
Six seconds to shoot. Parsons puts it up. Nope. Airball that one out of bounds.
Wow, what great defense from UVU. The last 2 possessions. You get one extremely long shot made. Great defense causing the airball there.
3:06 left. Go away. Wolverines down by 3.
People talk about life after college, you know, entering the real world. But this is engaged learning. I'm not just reading about it or watching someone else do it. I'm learning by doing. I'm at UVU. I'm in the real world every day.
Andrew Bastian. 6 block shots tonight. That's the 3rd best performance ever in a game by a UVU athlete. Ties Joe Walker's 6 block shots at Arkansas State back in 2007. Ben Aird had 7 against Troy. Ben Aird had 10 against NJIT. So Andrew needs 4 more to tie Ben Aird in that record book for best ever single game performance. Well, right now UVU's got 306 and a 3-point deficit. That's the stat that really matters now.
We'll see what the Wolverines and Thunderbirds are made of right here, Jim. This is exciting basketball, and we're due for a great finish.
Southern Utah goes for the steal. They got it. All the way. Jaden Jackson with the foul.
That's going to put Race Parsons at the free throw line, I believe. That's the 8th team foul for UVU.
Jaden Jackson's 3rd personal. UVU tonight, 16 turnovers. They came in here averaging 16 turnovers a game.
Coach Nick Robinson signaling their defense. His call for it is 22. We'll see what it is. I don't know if that's going to be a man or if they're going to fall back into the zone. You're right, Jim. The turnovers have hurt UVU. That was one of our keys of the game. They're right on their season average. Perhaps more than anything as you get another made free throws, the timing at which they come. That was not the best timing. You had 2-2-1 press here from Southern Utah, probably going to fall back into a zone. They do, 2-3 zone here.
Coming up on 2.5 left. Connor Fry for 3. Still scoreless tonight. They're going to give it to Southern Utah. Two and a half minutes left. UVU led most of this game. For 30.5 minutes they led.
I think this is going to be the biggest defensive possession of the night. You cannot create a foul or get a foul call and put Southern Utah at the line. They need to get a stop on the boards for possession.
Six to shoot. UVU with it. Under 2 to play. Bastian has it slapped out of his hands. It'll be UVU basketball.
I think, are they going to give Andrew Bastian another block there? They do. What a terrific night, deterring shots in the paint for Andrew. Almost got an opportunity there. Let's see what the Wolverines run out of the baseline play here. We just try and get the ball in.
Marcel Davis has been the show tonight. Jaden Jackson turnaround jumper, that won't go. Southern Utah with the rebound, 1:45 to play. They're going to try to burn some clock now. Langston. He's fouled.
Thought he got away with a double dribble up top there. Not sure if he dribbled off Connor or Connor knocked it away. Tough play there for UVU as they get the foul and put Thunderbirds at the line.
Marcel Davis with the foul. I'll tell you what kind of game Marcel's had. Not only has he got a career high 26 points, that's his first foul tonight. It's been a clean, great game for Marcel, but he hasn't had hardly any help at all. Next leading scorer of Every Young was 7.
Looking at it here, 1:27 left. It's going to be it is a 2-possession game right now. I don't think you foul. You've got plenty of time if Southern Utah gets the ball back, but the Wolverines desperately need a basket. Try and get the quickest basket possible here.
7-point deficit.
And this 2-2, sorry Jim, this 2-2-1 zone trying to slow the Wolverines down. It's done so.
Utah Valley taking a lot of time. Ivory for three.
Yeah, I think that was James McGee knocked that ball out of bounds. Great look. They're going to take a look at it, but this was off of James McGee. I think they're going to keep the call that they had. Yeah, Jim, the Wolverines got great looks. They've had really good looks. They just have not been able to knock down those shots for whatever reason. And that was a terrific look on the corner three.
UVU 44% shooting here in the second half. I mean, Southern Utah, they're only shooting 38%.
Yeah.
Matt. You look at that, the score should be flip-flop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you here we're going to see a replay. So there's the long three. Yeah, I think that's not the best angle, but from our angle, we had a pretty direct look at it, and it looked like it was clear that it went off James McGee.
The difference, though, second half free throw shooting. UVU 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Southern Utah 10 out of 10.
Yeah, they have gotten to the line. They've been the more aggressive team in the second half. That's been pretty obvious. They have been a lot more aggressive. They're going to keep the call as it was on the court. Wolverine basketball.
Seven-point lead for Southern Utah. This is their biggest lead of the game. 1:08 to play. UVU needs some points and needs them pretty quick. Marcel looking to get it in. Finally does to Connor Fry. He'll take a long three. In and out. Bastion rebounds. Throws it away.
They've got to come up and foul here, or trap. They've got to start fouling. They do get the foul.
So it'll be a free throw shooting contest from here on out. 58 seconds left. UVU down by 7. Well, maybe we jinxed them when we said they haven't missed a free throw here in the second half. No, I did not jinx them.
Good try, Jim.
Yeah. 8-point lead for Southern Utah. Make it 9. 6 straight free throws for Southern Utah. UVU had trailed by 3 before these free throws. Jaden Jackson for 3. That won't go. Connor Fry misses the slam on the putback, but finally the ball does go down.
Here you got to try and immediately trap when that ball gets in. If you can't get the trap, you got to foul.
Southern Utah is in the process of beating the trap. 41.9 seconds to play. Ivory Young committing the foul. $11 fouls called against UVU this half, just 3 against Southern Utah. For the game, 21 fouls against UVU and 10 against Southern Utah.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what your thoughts are, but
well, it's uneven.
It is uneven, but I don't know if it's been incorrect from what I've seen. I mean, in looking at it that way, I haven't seen as if there's been a whole lot of missed calls in my mind, but doesn't mean it's absolutely the case. Going back to what I said, Southern Utah's been the more aggressive team in the second half, and they've got those calls in their favor.
Wow, UVU had trailed by only 3 at 55-52, and then all of a sudden it's been 8 free throws in a row by Southern Utah. They haven't missed yet.
18 of 19 for the game. Am I reading that right? 18 of 19 for the game. The Wolverines have only attempted 6 free throws.
Yeah, this is a Southern Utah team that came in here shooting 72%. Tonight, 95%. Maybe this won't be an annual tradition. These two to get together. One of these teams might not want to see the other one for a while. Ivory Young. Connor Fry still cannot get it to go down. Connor Fry just having a frustrating night. He's had 9 shots and none of them have gone down. Connor Fry commits the foul, stopping the clock with 32.1 to play. 63-54. Well, what's new? Free throw's good.
Frustrating end to the game here for UVU. We saw this against Montana State. Just for whatever reason, the inability to close out the game.
Connor Fry on the miss, lost the handle, turnover UVU. 19 turnovers for the Wolverines tonight. UVU trailing by 10 with 26.3 to play. Not really. Connor Fry knows what to do. You need to stop the clock. You got to foul him.
You know, I think they might be coming over to look at this for an intentional foul on Connor.
And the coaching staff from Southern Utah says, come on, guys, we're good. It's all right. You don't need to look at that. We don't care.
Yeah, I think they're going to look at. I think it's going to be. A replay here. I think they're looking at the foul from Connor.
21 seconds left. UVU down by 10. If you joined us late, UVU led at halftime. That was a pretty good first half. UVU led 26-22.
Yeah, Jim, if you would have told me that coming into the game, if the Wolverines would have been able to hold Southern Utah to 64 points,
sure.
what would you have said? I would have said, great, that's a victory.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, that's a win. This is a game that's been an anomaly because the Wolverines just have not been able to score. They scored 54 points in Provo and lost that game. They scored 62 in Denver. They scored 55 points at Utah State. And the last two games that they've lost, they've scored 70 and 72 points. This has just been not their night on offense.
And I think that all goes on Connor Fry. He's just not had a good night at all.
He hasn't, and this has kind of been a trend. One player has a terrific game, maybe a second player accompanies him, but they have not, meaning the Wolverines, been able, as we see a couple long threes, another missed shot. They have not been able to put together a game where everybody contributes and they get production from 2, 3, 4 guys that they need to win. I mean, and you can see Connor is frustrated. Never seen him like this before. Just some turnovers that he's had, the fouls that he's had. 0 of 9 from the field for Connor. Just not his night.
Southern Utah, the last time they scored from the floor was at the 4-minute mark.
Wow.
Since then, it's been all free throws. That's when they got 55 points. Their last 12 points, 13 points make it, come from the free throw line. Unbelievable. UVU loses this one. Final score 68-54 for Utah Valley. That matches their season low in points, as BYU held them to 54, but that was a different story. The 68 points, not the most they've given up this season.
Well,
but
and a lot of those,
goodness,
like you said, just came from the free throw line at the end of the game. I mean, it was a great defensive effort from UVU. They just couldn't, their offense couldn't come along.
We'll take a break here on UVU TV. Our post-game show coming up next. UVU loses this one by 14 points.
They say the devil is in the details. And in here, there are a lot of details. Flavor, color, texture, temperature, presentation. It all has to be flawless. Pressure? Maybe. But with engaged learning, I get a lot of practice. And I'll bet your homework never tasted this good.
Back at the UCCU Center, UVU has fallen to 2-6 on the season as they lose their 4th straight game, this time at the hands of Southern Utah University. Final score 68-54, 54 points matching their season low. That's just brutal, quite frankly. And UVU, wow, there's so many things that are just amazing to talk about. Not sure we'll have a chance to talk about all of them. Coach Mark Pope is on his way to join us now courtside, hopefully for a little chit chat. UVU out-rebounded them. UVU outshot them percentage-wise. Goodness gracious. UVU outshoots them percentage-wise. UVU out-rebounds them. Marcel Davis, career high 28 points. Andrew Bashan's second best game ever for a UVU player with 7 blocks, but UVU loses this one by 14 as the final, I think it was 13 points of the game were scored at the free throw line by Southern Utah. We're joined now by Coach Mark Pope. Coach, wow, could this be any more frustrating, my friend?
Well, listen, you know, it is frustrating. It's not disheartening. I mean, listen, we played poorly. Marcel Davis had a big-time night. Andrew Bashan had a great night without having practice for the last 3 weeks. Trey came in and tried to help us a little bit, and it's going to be really important to have those 2 guys back. You know, listen, I couldn't be more excited about the future of this program. This was a very poor performance. So we have to right the ship. We have to play better, and that starts with me. And I have to do a better job preparing these guys and helping discipline these guys. But some really good things from Marcel, the senior, and this young Andrew Bashan.
28 points for Marcel Davis. That's a heck of a game. I think if he had a couple of other players chip in something, we'd have been in business. I mean, Ivory Young, next closest player, was 7 points. That's a big gap.
Yeah, it was hard. You know, some of our guys just didn't feel right tonight. You know, listen, when you play this game, you have nights where things don't go right. And we had a whole collection of guys where they didn't feel right tonight. They just couldn't quite get it going, and we're just making bonehead mistake after bonehead mistake. And that happens sometimes. It was really, really unfortunate for us that it happened tonight. We waste a great effort from Marcel and a real opportunity to win a game. But sometimes this game is that way. You know, this game treats you the way you deserve, and when you don't perform well as a team, then you're not going to win.
Good news is, though, guys who are hurt starting to get back. You're getting some minutes from these guys. You've already mentioned it. That has to help the whole team.
Yeah, I think so. Listen, you know, we know we have a long road ahead of us. We know there's going to be a lot of frustration ahead, but we also know, you know, couldn't be clearer about where we're going and have such unbelievable confidence in where we're going. And it's really important for me that this Andrew Bastion gets a chance to grow, and we need him to get healthier and stay healthier. And this Trey Young, we need to really grow him. And Hayden Skank, he needs to keep growing. He's, this is only his third game, or I guess his fourth game into this run of his first time playing in 12 months. And so those are really positive things for our program. And, those guys are going to take a little bit of a beating here as we go forward, but they can still grow and really improve, and at the end of the day, we'll endure these hardships, and then it's going to make when things are right just that much more sweet. Can't wait for that.
I love your optimism, my friend. Final question. Boy, it doesn't get any easier. Next 6 games, kind of murderer's row, aren't they?
Well, yeah, they're harder than the last 3. So
that's for sure.
But listen, we put this schedule together, and there's some real financial benefits for us that are really important to our program, and our guys are going to get out and get a chance to play, and we'll play better than this. I mean, Connor had a really rough night tonight. We turned the ball over 18 times, and probably 16 of those were unforced turnovers, and several of them were pick sixes. It was like we had a wide open layup, and we handed them the ball and gave them a wide open layup the other way, and that happens on some nights. Most important thing is my guys, this is going to be a hard one for them to swallow, and it should be. They deserve for this to be a hard one for them to swallow, but they have to recognize that this game is treats you the way that you deserve, and this is really what we deserve tonight, and when we play again, we'll deserve something better.
Coach, we'll let you get to the locker room. Thanks so much for
taking the time. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate you.
You bet. Coach Mark Pope sees his Wolverines lose this one at the hands of Southern Utah. Final score 68-54. We'll take another break. We'll be back to wrap this one up here on UVU TV.
I had an idea. Lots of people have ideas. But engaged learning helped me develop an idea and make it real. And now with sales over $1 million, best assignment ever.
You are watching UVU TV.
Well, there you see the final score. UVU loses to Southern Utah 68-54. UVU now 2-6 on the season. Southern Utah 2-5 on the season. Next time we see these two play will probably be at Southern Utah next season. Matt Peterson, final thoughts from you, and we'll get out of here, my friend.
I think Coach Pope nailed it. It was a poor performance. There's no other way that you can say it. They just didn't have what they needed on offense. Defense was there. Like Coach said, wasted a great performance from Marcel, but it's going to be a tough one to swallow for the Wolverines. They've got to turn around quickly and realize that, hey, this was not our best performance. Let's play better, practice better, and come away with a better outlook for what's coming up in the season.
Yeah, Weber State on Wednesday. That'll be our next game. That'll be carried here on UVU TV. That's going to do it for us. Our thanks for being with us and our entire UVU TV production crew. This game has been produced by students from UVU's Digital Media Department and is a copyrighted production of Utah Valley University and the Wolverine Sports Network. For Matt Peterson and our entire UVU TV crew, I'm Jim McCullough saying good night from Orem, Utah.
Copyrighted telecast of the Western Athletic Conference may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the WAC Digital Network.